No, Minister, you're from my own constituency, and I know the hard work that you do. And you have to be absolutely commended. We've met on many occasions in our own ETBs, and I know the work that you do in the area, and it is very well recognised. And you're very welcome, Caitlin. It's great to see more women. Absolutely, more Milan apprenticeships is what we need. But I have to raise the issue about apprentices' pay, and I suppose it was a bill that I brought forward. That people would have known that I brought forward before Christmas. And and it would be there would be compulsory to payment, that apprentices would be included in the maximum wage bill. I was very disappointed that it was not supported in any way by the government, and that it wasn't even given a timed amendment, because I put a lot, and I didn't just write it as a whim. We put a lot of work into it, and there was a lot of consultation with different representative bodies, from Connect Trade Union, from the Irish Council of Trade Unions, from SIP2, from the National Youth Councils. There was a lot of work went into it. I know that, and there has been great strides, that there has been more uptake of apprenticeships, and which is absolutely commended. It's wonderful to see. But unfortunately, there is still an issue that there is 20 to 25% of people dropping out in their first. This is craft apprenticeships that I'm talking about, in their first year, and this is what craft apprenticeships. That's what Connect Trade Unions have been telling me. That there's a 20 to 25% of first years in craft apprentices have been leaving, and they've cited the reason as low pay. And this is representative bodies that have been saying it to me. And we know that they receive a huge amount of support from the educational side, and I know from working in MSL-ETB myself. I worked in the Sligo Training Centre. I was based there. But like the first year apprentices have said that, and this has come up already, that they're receiving as little as 67 euros per hour in their first year, which raises to 11.50 in the second year. But I suppose, like I was said here already, that people, if people are living in one area, they're expected to pay double rent, they're expected to feed themselves, they're expected to pay for tools. And people don't have the bank of mum and dad to rely on, they don't have that to rely on. So I know there has been strides to think that it's going to be in a more inclusive model, but unfortunately the minimum wage is an issue. It's a massive issue. So I know Ben Friel, he's the president of the National Students of Ireland. He addressed the Joint Bureaucracy Committee on Further Education. He pointed out that apprentice electricians are expected to possess a basic electrician toolkit costing €1,000, and I know that there's a bill coming up about that. And as well, it's come up to me that female workers, particularly hairdressers, unlike their male counterparts in construction, they don't even get an incremental rate of pay. So I think maybe 25 years ago it was okay, when the minimum wage legislation was introduced, that possibly the reason was to keep 16-year-olds in school, and that was the reason behind it. But like has come up here many times tonight, the average age now in craft apprenticeships is 23, and in hospitality, horticulture and food, it's actually 30. We've heard, like Senator Kennelly said there, that we've heard about people that have, we know this common sense that people have mortgages. So it doesn't make sense that they're being exempt in their first years and second years. We know at a time that we need to keep apprenticeships. And I know, Minister, you spoke as well about, which is wonderful initiatives again, about retrofitting, about, and that there about an improvements, I know, in our own area as well. But unfortunately, if people are dropping out in their first year within the construction sector, within the housing sector, within craft apprenticeships, I don't know how we're going to meet our climate targets, and I don't know how we're going to expect to build the amount of houses that we want to build. And I know that the Oireachtas Commission on Higher Education, the reports that many people are a member in this commission are, and I know that the publication of a report is going to come out. But I wonder, is minimum wage for apprenticeships going to be included in that? That there is going to be a basic minimum wage for first year and second year apprenticeships included in that? And if they're possible, when is the date coming out? I know that we have made huge strides in it, and Minister, you have to be commended for that. But we need to do more to ensure that first year apprenticeships are not dropping out. Armagh.
Nessa, you spoke about dropout, and it was the only time I looked around my advisors, because certainly from the information I've seen, it's 10 to 11% seems to be the average dropout, and it's actually much lower than in higher education. Nonetheless, you're right, we need to look at it, and it is too high. Look, I won't give you the detail of our position on the minimum wage. You've probably heard it before, but I can say that when we look at, the value of the apprenticeship model, we see that, for example, that the highest median weekly earnings for apprentices 2 years after their qualification were in the fields of engineering at over €50,000 per annum. So when apprentices qualify, they actually do command decent wages. But I do recognise it's not simple. But all I can say is the numbers are increasing and apprentices seem to think it's worth their while to do it. But we're not without considering it.